All things are possible. Many people come and they ask questions because they're struggling in their lives and they are seeking assistance. Wisdom is within you, is what they would say. And collaboration. That's another word I hear a lot from them. You're not alone.
Today I'm joined by a truly incredible guest, Jan Wakefield. I first met Jan during interdimensional channeling sessions that Jan is organizing for everyone to join and receive wisdom from higher dimensions, where Jan channels higher dimensional beings. Jan creates incredible environment where energy, love, wisdom, and care come through, and Jan shares the wisdom from the beings that are coming, and you can feel that everything shared comes from the pure frequency, deep presence, and true service. So I would like to welcome Jen to our podcast. Hi, Jen. How are you doing today? What's on your mind?
Hi, Sodi. Thank you so much for having me here today. I want to just really send my heart out to you for bringing forth this message and allowing the blue healers and the other extra dimensional beings the opportunity to have a place where we normalize the conversation around communicating with the unseen world.
Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure. I had the privilege joining this public channeling session, and they completely blew my roof with love, with wisdom, with presence. And I would like to share this incredible service and gift that you're bringing, as long as your incredible story. So we gonna have amazing podcast today. Thank you. Jan, how would you describe your connection with higher dimensional beings or energies? What does it feel like? You are organizing interdimensional talks with groups of people coming together and asking questions, and I have a privilege to join this group to be part of it. It's absolutely fantastic, and I think many people would love to know, how do you feel as a channeler during the sessions? What can you share?
I appreciate you asking this question. It is so relevant because many people who come to the group want to understand more about how to connect to 5D. And by sharing the simple story of my own experience, sometimes it helps people to bridge the gap between where they are and getting there. Communicating with extra dimensional beings for me is no different than having a conversation with a human. It's the exact same thing. It's just that I have my eyes closed, I'm quiet, and I'm hearing the messages come through as a vibrational frequency. The easiest way to describe it is I hear the messages or feel the messages in my mind, and I interpret them and speak them through my mouth. So it's funny, I was thinking about this question. I read it before I got on the podcast, and I thought to myself, well, I am called a channel, and really it's like I'm the television. And we have what different qualities of TVs, right? Sometimes they have better pictures, and sometimes they have better audio, and sometimes they're really big, and sometimes they're kind of small. And it doesn't really matter necessarily, but the messages you get come through a specific channel on your television. So the story might be, as we're watching today, Shark Week. In the place where I live, Shark Week is really important. So the story is about sharks. So for me, channeling and being kind of the conduit through which the information comes, I allow myself to again see things as being exactly what they are. When one of the extra dimensional beings is speaking to me, I'm listening, I'm translating, and I'm taking it as truth. And I also will dialogue with them in the process, saying, I can't say that out loud. We have to reword this. We have to say it in a way, because for me, the central message is coming from love and connection. And so I will sit and ask them to reword things so that it comes through that lens. That is my part of the experience, is saying love and connection is the message I want to bring through to the world. So yes, it's just conversation. It's very normal for me. And when people begin to see that they can also have these conversations as if they're talking to a friend, then it makes it a lot easier for everybody.
Thank you. And you are sharing your gift with everyone who wants to join for free your sessions. They are so amazing. And of course, we will add all the links how people can find you and can be a part of these sessions. But it is so amazing to see how much love and how effortless it comes to you to transmit these messages. My question would be, what have higher dimensional beings taught you personally? Because you are mostly, what I see, you are doing it for other people. You are helping other people to get their questions answered. What are your personal learnings, and what these beautiful high dimensional beings taught you, if you can share?
Probably the first thing that comes to mind is the word relax, connect, and be in love, be in the heart in every moment. And that sounds so easy. And we know as humans, we get busy in our world doing all the 3D things. I have very busy days and I love doing things and being active. But the central message for me is the same as everyone else. And people say, oh, they're your besties and that you probably get insider information. And I say, they talk to me exactly the same way they talk to you. It is not any different. It's always breathe into the tension in your body, relax into the experience of being in your heart. And when people say, well, what does that even mean? Well, it means just sit, relax, allow yourself to say whatever it is you say to yourself, and then soothe yourself at the same time. So, any tensions in the body or in the mind, if I have moments, I'll do the same thing I ask of everyone else. I close my eyes, I breathe into my heart, and I do exactly the breath practices that they have taught everyone else. I repeat them in my own mind, in my own space, in my own time. So they've taught me a lot about my life, a lot about staying connected, and a lot about really bringing the message forth to humanity. I think that is what they want from me is to just they feel really truly grateful that I am a mouthpiece for the experience that they would like to share, which is that humanity's evolving. And I'm grateful for the to be the one that is able to share that with the world.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing this. And during the channeling session, do you remember, was there any special magical moment while channeling that you remembered so much it still gives you the chills to remember?
Every channeling session, I feel that. Every channeling session. I am surprised endlessly by the unique nature of each session, how the breath practices may repeat and they may change just slightly because it is a conversation that is in the moment and there isn't a standardization to it. Every
Uh-huh.
conversation, every channeling session I do is a unique and wonderful experience. I will say over the course of time since the first channeling session, so for anyone who minds in the in the YouTube vault of all of Jan's channeling sessions, it has evolved over time. It's become easier for me, easier for them. Our conversations are easier. It's that we've gotten to know each other a little bit better. But every single time I am mystified, I am, and my heart expands and I feel that sense of chills. What you don't see when I stop the recording and people go on their way, I said, that was amazing. That was amazing every single time. I should probably record that part where I'm still saying that was just amazing. So, yeah, beautiful messages and always feel a sense of chills when I channel every time.
Thank you for mentioning Jen has her own channel where you upload most of the public channelings. Where truly for me, when I discovered you, of course, I went back to the vault and everything is so amazing. There is so much wisdom, there is so much love, there is so much direct application for our situation. Sometimes my first impression might was that there might be specific questions from people that are not so applicable for my situation. However, every time I join the sessions, in every answer, I take so much wisdom for my situation that I'm amused how it can be tailored for all our needs. That's where you realize that we are one, is that we're one collective, that someone asking question reflects also your experience. And that is absolutely incredible. I will add links to Jen YouTube channel where almost all public sessions are available. Thank you, Jen, for mentioning this. And if you could speak directly if higher dimensional beings that you channel could speak directly to listeners of this podcast, what do you feel they would share? What would be their message?
All things are possible. Many people come and they ask questions because they're struggling in their lives and they are seeking assistance. Wisdom is within you, is what they would say. And collaboration. That's another word I hear a lot from them. You're not alone. Do all the things that are required in the moment. Find the pathway that opens your heart in the moment. So I use this example a lot when I'm channeling. Their wisdom often is what makes your heart feel like it's opening a little more. You could be at a coffee shop, and maybe today the usual thing that you get isn't making your heart feel open, but the other thing on the menu is. Choose that. Tiny little motions toward freedom within your heart, like that, assist you in trusting yourself in the greater things. So, this was true for me with migraines. I didn't feel a sense of freedom. I felt a sense of being in a cage and trapped in my own body. And when I started allowing myself to imagine the possibility by taking small steps, oh, today I'm going to do this, or today I'm going to avoid that, or today I'm going to try something new. It was then that my heart started opening. So that is one of their central messages. Relax, connect into the heart, bring beauty into your life, do things that bring you joy. And all those little steps lead to freedom on a greater scale.
Wow, what an empowering message. Thank you for this message. It reflects to everyone and anyone. And just realizing that you've done so many sessions, I don't even know how to ask how many, but this message is so empowering. Do you remember how many sessions you already, public sessions you already done?
Hundreds. Well, I would say public and private together. I've done hundreds of sessions. As of today, I've only been channeling for 6 months, 7 months, 7 months now. So
The pace is incredible. Jen, how would you describe the frequency or personalities of higher dimensional beings to someone who has never experienced this kind of channeling before, for someone who would like to try it for the first time or curious? How would you describe it?
I love this question. There are many extra dimensional beings. And when I first started channeling, I wanted to be in control of the narrative because I had a lot of stories in my mind about what channeling was. Is it good or is it bad? Is it this or is it that? And so I wanted to control the narrative a little bit. So instead of just opening the channel and allowing anyone to come through, I had already met the blue healers in one of my own healing sessions. So I asked them, I boldly went up to them and said, "Hey, would you be interested in having me channel your information?" And they spoke amongst themselves and said, "Well, that sounds really interesting. We've never done that before." And so it reminded me very much of when I travel and you go to a new place and you meet new people, and maybe you don't speak the same language, yet you're communicating, you're trying to communicate. And what you can recognize when you meet new people is that they have individual personalities, that it's the same everywhere you go. And it's been the same for me with the extra dimensional beings. There are three primary blue healers who come. I gave them names. I asked their own names and they spoke them in a way. And I thought, okay, there aren't letters in our vocabulary in English that actually, like, I don't even know how to say that because it's a vibrational frequency. And so I have elected to not wrap my brain around that experience. But for those people who are trying to, and this is a really good lesson, right? Because for those people who are trying to connect, don't get caught up in the minutia of trying to figure out their names. If it is a click or a sound that a dolphin makes mixed in with letters, you could spend hours thinking about that one thing and really trying to uncover it. Instead, look for the central message. What are they saying to you? And how does that come through with you? Everyone has their own filter. You're all your own television set, whatever your variety is, trust that. It doesn't have to be exactly the way it is for me, but it is often sensory. So you may hear, see, smell, taste, and you have to take all that information in and bring it together in a beautiful portrait. make it into a picture, make it into a story. And that is what you speak to the world if you're looking to speak with extra dimensional beings. But be willing to notice differences. It's all about accepting diversity, I guess. There are many diverse beings, and if you watch my channelings, you'll see that I've spoken and allowed other extra dimensional beings to come through. Pretty much anyone who shows up, I'll translate for them. And in private sessions, I see it even more frequently that an individual will have what I call a starseed origin that comes from somewhere that I have never been, that doesn't have a name, that hasn't been even mapped out by humanity. And I'll just say to them, okay, what message do you have for this individual? And so allowing yourself the freedom to just be okay with it being a little different than the communication style that you're used to with other humans.
Thank you for answering this and for mentioning that your channeling experience now expands so rapidly. Even during my short time joining your sessions, I can see that you have not only one kind or one type of interdimensional beings, but you have so many different kinds of beings coming to you now, and it keeps expanding every session. What can you mention about this for those who never join, what they could expect by joining one of your sessions, apart from love, peace, connection? What's your experience?
Thank you. Thank you for this question. I think people want to know what it's like when they come into the session. We have stories we've been told. As I said, I grew up Catholic, and channeling was considered something closer to possession. And of course, the Catholic religion is famous for stories of possession. And I think Hollywood has changed our perspective on that and induced a lot of fear around what it means, what these experiences mean. And I had all those beliefs within me at one point in my life or another. And I had to come to a place within myself where I was comfortable with it. I will say, do what you feel connected to. If you don't feel connected to channeling, find another modality that works for you. But for those who do feel connected to channeling, my space is all about expanding the heart. My space of channeling is all about drawing wisdom and self empowerment. The blue beings, the extra dimensional beings that I speak with, are always about self empowerment, that you hold the power and the choice over your own life, and that they're not telling you what to do. They're not telling people how to live their lives, exactly what will make them heal. Instead, they are offering information that allows the heart to expand. And if they ever give anything specific, they often will follow it up with, but the choice is still yours. And so that self empowerment is something that allows us to expand from adolescence, from a more what they call juvenile state. They used to use the word immature, and I expressly told them to use the word juvenile because that is how it is as humans. We're always evolving, we're always expanding, we're always growing. And we move from the juvenile state of the human into a state of wisdom. And it is only when we can take responsibility or accountability for our own actions and the choices that we make in our lives that we step into our own wisdom, correct? I mean, that's what wisdom is all about. It's where you say, oh, this is what I believe, and this is how I'm going to move through the world, and this is how I can embrace others. This is how I can serve. This is where I need to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And so that is what I have uncovered mostly with extra dimensional communication is their level of wisdom is already set in place. And so they can only offer suggestions and allow us to make choices from our own hearts.
Thank you for sharing. I can personally share my experience. Every session I join, it elevates my level, my plank of wisdom. I every time I already take it as expectation that my understanding will be shattered and elevated completely. So I highly recommend for anyone who is open to the wisdom, to much higher wisdom, to give it a try. And we will be talking at the end of this podcast how Jen will share how you can join these sessions. Thank you so much for sharing this. And as someone who channels wisdom from beyond the physical, from higher dimensions, what helps you stay grounded and connected to your daily life?
I think every channeling session I might have mentioned that chocolate is one of my biggest grounding tools. And it's become kind of funny because now people just give me gifts of chocolate all the time, which I love trying new chocolate from around the world. Cacao, I've done cacao ceremony, so I love there is something in that substance that is very grounding for me and
Mhm.
brings me back from the channel space back into the 3D world. In addition to that, body work, exercise, I ride my bike. I am out in the ocean. The ocean is very grounding for me. I live by the ocean, so it's an easy access for me. Strength and weight training has helped me really with there is when I channel, my physical body is experiencing a lot of energy. It's a little bit like an increase in electricity in my physical body. So my muscle strength or breathing, doing cardio, etc., helps to keep the body in a place of groundedness within itself. I also have
Unders-
other tools. I do acupuncture, massage. I am very blessed that my acupuncturist is across the street. So if I ever feel myself unable to ground, I just text her and say, "Hey, do you have any availability today or tomorrow? I need to come back into my body." And we have this little joke that when she leaves the room, she looks at me and says, "Yeah, you're back." So that's very fun. But I have one other tool that I highly recommend in the grounding process, and it's a grounding mat or an earthing mat. And these products have changed my life. And I we can put the link in the chat for which company I use, but I have my feet on it right now. And so during channeling sessions, I keep my feet on the earthing mat all the time, because if I don't, then sometimes the brainwaves will change to where I slip into delta, and I'm essentially it's very hard to speak when your brainwaves go into delta.
Thank you, Jen. Some of us feel like we came here with a mission, and even if we don't know what is that, do you feel your path was written before you were born to come here into your service, into sharing your gifts?
Yes, indeed, I do. I have a famous story. If I think
Origin.
I've told this story 100 times. Yes, my origin story. So I was in a healing process. So I had a healer who was helping me with migraines. And while she would do the healing sessions, she had many, many things that she would do, but a lot of it was silence. And so during that time, I would do something that shamans do, which is journey through time and space. And I would set tasks for myself because I love to be efficient with my time. And so when I knew she was working on me, I had to recline and just I couldn't do anything else. So I would journey and I would go back in time and find where I came from. So my shaman story is that we had to find in one of our training sessions, we had to go back and locate our origin on this planet. And we'd follow our light line. And I did that. I followed my light line all the way back to the original human I was. And the light line went into the heart of this human in my visual and straight out from the heart up through the top of the head into space. And of course, I'm standing there in this journey looking up, going, I don't wonder where that goes. So during one of my healing sessions, I followed that light line and it took me to a place off planet. And I thought, well, if I can journey back 60,000 years to my original lifetime, I imagine going off planet isn't that strange. And so off planet I went. And I did have a purpose of why I came here to this planet and why I embodied as a human and what that story was. And it took many, many lifetimes for it to unfold. But the most pivotal lifetime for me, other than the original lifetime, was the most recent one. And I have done past life regression several times from various practitioners just to make sure that the story I was receiving was real for me. And it was the same every time. Practitioners would see it for me as well. So when you have that outside perspective and you haven't already told them the story, it does create a sense of, yeah, I can get behind this. So I was in Tibet as a monk and I was chanting, just as you see on TV, Tibetan Buddhist monk in in a monastery. And this was I didn't know anything about Buddhism except that the paintings and they meditate and the things I had seen on TV. Knew very little about it. But I died in 1959. That number came specifically to me, 1959. I was shot by a Chinese soldier. I saw his face. I saw the gun. I could smell the gunpowder. I could smell everything. I could feel myself in the body of the man that I was as a monk. And when I died instantaneously, I tumbled into this lifetime. And so I feel that is a lot of the channeling, a lot of the breath practices come from that experience that I had as a monk. And of course, I went to the internet and I figured out, wow, there's a whole story around 1959 and the Tibetan monasteries being destroyed and monks being murdered and the
Wow.
Dalai Lama escaping. And I learned a lot in that pursuit. But had I known that information prior, I might have second guessed myself. But it was that I had written down in my notes this information and gone back and verified. So that has really shaped who I've become in this lifetime and who I am as a channeler and what the message is from the blue healers and the extra dimensional beings in general, that we are all so deeply connected in a way that we can't even imagine. And by trusting in that experience of the past that I had, my origin story, the most previous lifetime I had, I know for a fact that what I'm doing here is I'm on the right path so long as I'm staying connected to my heart.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Jen, I had the privilege to watch your origin story. It's one of the most incredible, one of the most spectacular story that I don't think that we have a sci-fi movie that can match it. I can highly recommend to everyone who is listening to check out Jen channel. There you can find this story, and this story will it stretched me quite a lot. Thank you for sharing it. I'm sure Jen just shared a small piece of this story, which is much longer. Of course, it spans across many iterations. Thank you so much for sharing this. Today we have so much fear and uncertainty in the world right now. For someone listening who feel lost or disconnected or anxious about it, what would be your message to them? You going through this journey, through regression, through seeing all of this, what would you tell them, to listeners who are listening to this story now?
Love is the answer. It really is. Love is the answer. Maybe the Beatles made this famous. That's why they're still popular today. The message that I would say is begin to normalize the conversations that you're having with yourself in terms of what is possible. Tell yourself stories that create possibility in your life, freedom in your life. It is so easy to subscribe to fear, and the fear response comes from human evolution of survival. If you were to take your logical mind for a moment, in any time fear comes up, and say to yourself, what is really going on here? What am I afraid of? So, for example, you may be afraid that you can't pay your bills. Very real reality in the world. People struggle with money, they struggle with their health, and they struggle with relationships. Those three topics are 99% of the questions. The other 1% are about their pets, which I love those questions. It's amazing. So, love really is the answer. And I know it sounds kitschy or it sounds like a stereotype, but in order to access love, we have to be willing to sit down and examine where the fear is coming from. Are you watching television and it's making you feel afraid? Pick up the remote, turn the television off, and stop for a second. What is reality? What is happening? Are you there in the story that someone's telling you? Or are you here in this moment in your body saying to yourself, where is the fear coming from? And sometimes the fear is of looking at wherever fear comes from. And that's okay too. But know that, and this is a message that comes from the blue healers all the time. We have, as humans, developed a chemical response in our brains for survival. So, for those of us who have the luxury of not having to live in survival in every moment, it really is for us to say to ourselves, is this fear real? Is it in the moment? Is it true for me? Am I buying into somebody else's story? Is this based on my childhood trauma? Is this based on an experience I had last week? And start to unwind the tension in the body. That's the central message from the Blue Healers, is to breathe into the tension. Ask yourself, is this real or is this from the past? Am I worried about the future? Be in the moment as much as you can. It sounds hard, but practice is really all it takes. Just sit down for 1 minute and allow yourself to say, is this response real? Or was I just watching reality TV and or fiction and I got triggered into television wants you to feel it and you do. That's what makes it good. That's why we vote on it and say it's the best of the year. Is because we felt something. Well, it's okay to unwind that too and say, okay, well, why? Why am I feeling this way in the moment? And so my message would be to anyone who's really struggling right now is to sit, breathe, allow yourself to connect with your loved ones, connect with your pets if you love your pets, if you have one, and connect into what's beautiful for you. If what you love is flowers and you don't have access to them right now, bring one up on the internet. Whatever brings joy to your heart, allow yourself to have that moment so that you can tap into love in a way that allows you to unwind the fear. Because I assure you, once you uncover where the fear comes from, the only thing that's left is acceptance and love for yourself. And from that place, that's where you feel a sense of freedom.
Wow, thank you so much for this incredibly simple and profound wisdom that you shared. How people can connect with you, they can follow you, they can join session, they can learn more about session that you organize, can learn more about what you do, about your healing sessions. Can you share a bit more?
Yes, janwakefield.com, my website. All the links are on there. Check out the events page for things that are coming up, the free channeling sessions. You can sign up for free channeling sessions there through Eventbrite. And there are links to the activities that I have going on. So if I recently was invited to a city and a bunch of people got together. I did a benefit. I volunteered my time to raise money. And I love doing that kind of thing. I travel a lot. So wherever you are, if you'd like for me to come and join you, reach out to me, janwakefield.com. And I would love to talk to people about that experience of spreading the message of love and connection through the world through extra dimensional channeling.
Thank you so much. It is immense pleasure, and thank you for everything that you do. It is absolutely incredible experience. I can highly recommend to anyone who is interested what there is more to the world to join Jan sessions where wisdom, love, truth, connection. It is not only words, it is vibrational experience. Myself, speaking of my experience, every time I join the session, I feel myself a couple years younger. That's the feeling that I experience, however, wiser. And that's absolutely incredible. Thank you, Jen, for being with us. Thank you for sharing your incredible story. For anyone who wants to learn more, there is more videos on your website. I can highly recommend Origin Story. Every video that you record is a gold. Thank you so much. We so much appreciate, and I enjoyed this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Sergey. It was a pleasure.